You're listening to the John and Heidi Show Bonus Hour. If you miss any of the program, you can find the podcast at the bottom of the page at sunnyradio.com.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We appreciate you joining us. I got a guest joining me in studio here in just a bit. We'll have Brent Baker. He is a realtor with Clients First Group and Keller Williams Realty. Excited to visit with him. We're going to continue our conversation. We started chatting last week about stuff, and we're going to carry that on. Now, if you missed last week's episode, you can catch that in a podcast form. sunnyradio.com. Scroll down towards the bottom of the page, and you'll find it there. Also, we've got some tickets to give away this Wednesday, so a couple days away, from Celebrate America. That's coming up at the end of this week, but you can get your tickets right now, or you can take a chance and try to win some tickets if you go to sunnyradio.com, click the button that says Win Tickets and More, and we'll see if we can make you a winner. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this beautiful Monday.
Give yourself a little credit.
It may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation can change. Then you could qualify for a better credit card, one that offers you a better rate, or one that offers miles, points, cash back, or whatever is the best fit for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Give yourself a little credit. Go ahead and switch to bettercreditcards.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Super excited to have Brent Baker from ClientsFirstGroup.com joining us in the studio right now, also with Keller Williams Realty. And we started this list last week, Brent. We've got home fire hazards to avoid, and we made it about halfway through the list. We had number 1, products recalled because of a fire hazard, 2, loose outlets, 3, excess sawdust, 4, pantry staples, 5, nail polish remover, 6, dangerous combinations of bathroom chemicals. And if you want to hear more details on any of those, the podcast from last week has all of that. But we pick up here on number 7, 9-volt batteries, which is weird because that's what you put in a smoke detector. But 9-volt batteries can also cause a fire at your house.
You know, they have a positive and a negative terminal on them.
And they're right next to each other.
Correct.
And if you throw them in a garbage can and it touches against something metal, it can catch that whole garbage can on fire.
Correct. Especially if you had an old metal can and you've got paper or other combustible materials in there, or, just even if you have them in a junk drawer.
Yeah.
They have to stay in their package so they don't contact other metal products.
Another thing on here, vintage appliances. And I know there are some people who love the way those look. They look really cool, so then they'll, refurbish them. But sometimes with the components on the inside, that might not be a great idea. Maybe just go for a new one that looks old.
Well, and there are people who are into replacing the old electrical components within those. The old cords, the old wiring within them. There are companies that actually offer to do that.
Nice. Another thing on the list, I see materials placed near a fireplace, because I suppose at a certain point, just about anything can be dangerous if you get it close enough to a fire.
Well, I would certainly think so. And so before you throw that rug down there and do your nude photo shoot, be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't post those. You never know where those things are going. Next on the list here, bird nests on outdoor lights. I suppose it could be on indoor lights, too, if you leave the windows open. But a bird nest can absolutely become a fire hazard in a big old hurricane.
Well, it can. And it'd probably be more due to say an incorrect installation of a light, or the light is aged. But some of those things, over time, that nest has been there so long, and if some of that stuff eventually, right conditions, there's always a possibility.
This is one that I guess I hadn't thought of, but it makes so much sense when I read this. Glass or crystal decor. And you wouldn't instantly think that could be a fire hazard, but I suppose if the sun is shining through it, it could be like a magnifying glass type effect. And
Yeah, like we all tried as kids.
Oh, yeah.
Try to start a fire with a magnifying glass.
I remember like burning a hole in my friend's shoe, and I was like, I didn't think it was going to work, and then we burned it, and there was new shoes. His mom was mad. So I hadn't really thought about that some decor could actually be a fire hazard.
And it may not be the rest of the year, but the sun is a little lower at this time of year, so window coverings are probably not a bad idea for some of these products.
Clothes dryer is number 12 on the list, and that is one where I've heard some issues with the dryer vents being full or plugged, or not pulling the lint trap out and cleaning that all well.
Correct. In fact, that happened to a friend of mine. Had called me to discuss some real estate transactions, and suddenly stopped mid-conversation, said, "I smell smoke." And knowing the layout of the house, and I asked where she was standing, and she was by her laundry. I said, "Open your laundry room door." And sure enough, that's where it was. Her, and it wasn't even a very old house.
Yeah.
But the vent tube was filling up with lint.
Yeah, that can happen very quickly.
Well, and for her, she says, I usually turn the dryer on just before I go out the door.
Yeah. Imagine that if you'd have been gone.
So if we had not been on the phone, the potential was there could have been a house fire.
Wow. Another thing on the list, number 13, linseed oil. So if you have a squeaky linseed and you need to oil it, no, what do you do with linseed oil? Looks like it's a polish maybe?
Linseed oil was used for a variety of things many years ago. I can remember as a kid, my dad and grandfather using it on different things and rubbing things down to clean it and whatnot. And like a lot of things, it's got just a little volatility to it.
Yeah.
And
that can cause an issue. And then we end at number 14, kind of right where we started the conversation, actually, with smoke detectors. So smoke detectors can cause a problem too?
Yeah, if they get too old, and sometimes they just function poorly. Yeah. But it's not very often. I don't know that I can ever recall a time when I heard that the smoke detector was at cause, but I will tell you a little story. One of my agent friends had sold a house to somebody, and they were refinishing all the woodwork.
Yeah.
And so in the process of sanding and staining hung the rags over the edge of the garbage can to dry out.
Yeah.
Well, all of those fumes collected in the bottom of that garbage can.
Oh.
And then a fire did erupt from that and did some pretty serious damage to the kitchen area.
Wow.
So even disposing of those rags, you have to make sure they're thoroughly dry.
Yeah.
Or they can, combust on their own in the garbage can, but even laying them over the edge, the fumes still collected in the garbage can.
Wow. I never even would have thought of that. So these were some fire hazards you can find around the home. And if you missed any of these, or if you're just kind of catching the tail end of this, we share this as a podcast as well. If you go to sunnyradio.com, you'll see that towards the bottom of the page. And Brent, if somebody listening would like to reach out and talk to you, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I can always be found at 605-310-0297 or Brent Baker at kw.com.
Very nice. You can also find him online on his website, clientsfirstgroup.com.
At WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, we help you get ready for all the fun holidays throughout the year with fun, silly, and just plain weird gift ideas for your friends. If you have a friend who has a bizarre sense of humor, we've got a gift for them. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com posts a link to something that will make you smile each and every day. Whether you buy these weird gifts or not, it's worth checking out just for a smile. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Time now for This Day in Sioux Falls History, brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page, West Sioux Studios, and Sunny 93.3. It was on this day, November 13th, 1862, a case of mistaken identity or downright poor judgment led to a terrible tragedy of Mankana Naota En. In August of 1862, Judge Amadon and his son were killed by Native Americans during the Dakota Uprising. In response to their deaths, the town of Sioux Falls was ordered to be evacuated. All residents were to relocate to Yankton, where they could be protected. Nearly 3 months later, on this day in history, some of the Sioux Falls' earliest residents accompanied a small detachment of cavalry soldiers back to Sioux Falls. They were here to assess the condition of the town. Upon arriving in Sioux Falls, the group found the city in ruins. with many of the buildings and crops burned. Mankana Naota En, translated as among the little trees, happened to be camping near the city ruins on that fateful day. He had absolutely nothing to do with the death of the Amidons, nor the ransacking of the town. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The soldiers spotted his camp and began to chase after a few young men inside. All escaped except for Mankana Naota En. The soldier who killed him declared that he thought the young man was Wa Kien Duta, the nephew of Chief Ink Paduta. We now know that he was mistaken, and the young man he killed was as much of a victim of circumstance beyond his control as the maidens. A historical marker tells the entire story and can be found near Koval Lake and Terrace Park in Sioux Falls. This Day in Sioux Falls History has been brought to you by the Sioux Falls Fun Page, West Sioux Studios, and Sunny 93.3.
Give yourself a little credit.
It may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation can change. Then you could qualify for a better credit card, one that offers you a better rate, or one that offers miles, points, cash back, or whatever is the best fit for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Give yourself a little credit. Go ahead and switch to bettercreditcards.com.
Hey, this episode of the John and Heidi Show bonus hour is done. Now, there are times during the bonus hour I'll mention something from our regular program, the John and Heidi Show, which is syndicated on like 300 stations around the country. There's actually a podcast for that as well. So if I mention something that you're going, hey, whatever happened? He didn't talk to that person, or this didn't happen, that didn't happen. You can find that podcast at JohnAndHeidiShow.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour.